Terry Strada. She is the national chair of 9/11 Families and Survivors United for Justice Against Terrorism. Her husband, Tom, was killed in the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Terry, so glad you could be with us. And again, our hearts go out to you and all of the loved ones of 9/11 victims. This has to be a very difficult weekend. At the same time, does this offer some answers for you, seeing this report, if you have had a chance already to take a look?
Yes, I have had an opportunity to look at it, and I'd like to correct what was just said earlier in the reporting that the Saudi Arabia welcomes all of this. No, Saudi Arabia has been fighting us tooth and nail to keep all of this evidence buried. It's what they put out in the press, but it's not true at all. They don't even release their own files. They don't produce documents in our court case. They do not cooperate. But what this report that came out, what I'm seeing so far is that there were at least 8 Saudi nationals that were involved in helping these hijackers when they arrived into the United States. And there's now this documentation that this flurry of phone calls that were happening between them and while the hijackers were coming into the United States and while they were getting settled in. This group held extreme views, extreme radical views. They were part of related with the Al-Qaeda, terrorist operatives. They are extremists, and they are in the Saudi government, and they are on their payroll. And the kingdom was sending these extremists out into the world and unleashing them on all of us, including the United States of America. So the kingdom is not innocent here. They do not welcome this information. That is a lie.
But do you feel that this report helps support the idea that the Saudi government was complicit? Because the Saudi government is responding and saying, while yes, there may be Saudi roots that are established in this report, nothing substantiates that the government was behind these hijackers.
But these 8 individuals, at least 8 in this report, are on the kingdom's payroll. They are, working on behalf, they are agents working on the behalf of the kingdom. So I don't know how they can say that they weren't connected when they actually are not only on their payroll, but they are working within the government for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that they are the ones that sent them out into the world and unleashed them on all of us. These at least 8 in this report, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just a bird's eye view into the entire report. There's 14,000 pages at least of Operation Encore. And this isn't the only reports that will be coming out in the next 6 months from the executive order from the president. He has ordered that all of these files be reviewed. Things that have state secrets stamped on them, the overly classified documents, and documents that they have refused to produce. So there's going to be a lot more information. But yeah, there are direct ties to the kingdom through these individuals.
So you look forward to more. What does it say to you that the Biden administration gave the green light to releasing this information, albeit after pressure from many of you, family members of victims of 9/11, saying don't attend these services on 9/11 unless you were able to and would release this information? That the Biden administration did that, what does this signal to you?
Well, there's more to the story than, a group of 9/11 families saying you're not welcomed at the memorial. Actually, it was Senator Menendez that introduced the September 11th Transparency Act on August 5th. And that language of that legislation is what turned into the executive order. So on that day, when we stood in front of the Capitol and made that announcement, and I stood there with Senator Menendez and Blumenthal, and Senator Schumer came out, and we had Grassley and Senator Cornyn on board, that we had this strong bipartisan support that we were going to pass legislation mandating this declassification review process. The White House said, whoa, it's coming down the pipeline. We can do something about that and get ahead of it and help the families out before 9/11 by taking this legislation, turning it into the executive order, mandating the declassification review. He's given it 6 months. They met the first deadline. We've learned a lot. There's a lot more to learn.
You've been very dogged in this, and at the same time, you have had to help your children. endure the last 20 years and beyond. Your kids were so young when 9/11 happened. One of them, correct me if I'm wrong, was only 4 days old, and now they are young adults. So what has this weekend, what has this past 20 years been like for you and your kids?
Yeah, this weekend really signifies the tremendous loss because now we look back at 2 decades. And like you said, they were small, young children, 7, 4 days old. Now they're young adults. And he's missed out on everything. He's missed out on my daughter's wedding. He's missed out on my son graduating from Fort Benning. He's now in the U.S. Army. My oldest son is working and went to college and had his graduations and his proms and all of that. It's been a very long, sad, difficult 20 years without Tom loving us, showing his support, and raising my children with a father. But we've had to endure it, and we want to keep fighting for the truth because that's what we feel is the most important thing we can do to honor him, is to expose the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the role that they played in not only financing Al Qaeda and the terrorist organization, but the logistic support, that support network that was put in place in the United States that we are now seeing in this 2016 summary come to fruition.
Well, Terry Strada, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your story, and clearly Tom in heaven is very grateful of your continued fight on his behalf and that of so many others. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.